The first question I typically ask women is if you knew the answer would be yes, what would you ask for?
Oh, everything on my vision board.
Exactly.
You're watching the Wow podcast. I'm Jennifer Robin. This conversation is for informational purposes only and is not medical advice. Full disclosure is in the description. Today on the show, we have Natalie Wynn, a certified master mindset and manifestation coach. She's also an author, speaker, and powerhouse entrepreneur. With over a decade of corporate experience and advanced certifications in NLP, EFT, breathwork, and hypnotherapy, Natalie helps ambitious women break out of burnout, rewire their subconscious, and turn purpose into profit. Welcome, Natalie.
Hi, Jennifer. I'm so excited about our conversation today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, for those that don't know you, let us know how you get started doing the work that you do.
That is such a great question and an amazing roller coaster like journey. So, for me, it started really a long time ago. I'll start at the very beginning. I've always been very intuitive, wanting to serve and help people. And so, a long time ago, I started doing vision board parties before they were popular. And started having them in my home, and then people started inviting random people, and it just grew and grew and grew. And so I did that for a number of years where I just always had that in me. And then I found myself, of course, married with my husband. And what really got me on the path was when I started going through my divorce. And that's probably been almost 15 years ago. And what I realized is that when I was going through the divorce, I was so down. I lost my identity. I didn't feel worthy. My confidence was shot. And I wasn't clear on what it was that I want. The one thing that I knew I didn't want was to continue living in this up and down roller coaster cycle. So, ladies, if you've been through a divorce or had a really bad breakup, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I said, there's got to be something better. Yes, I have the vision boards and things like that. I know how to script, but I need something a little bit more permanent. So that's what led me down the path of subconscious reprogramming and understanding NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and then, of course, the tools that come with that, like EFT. And so what I realized was, you know, this stuff works. It works. It got me out of my rut. It has sustained me through other crises or roller coaster rides, as I like to say, to the point where I thought, you know what? I want to be able to provide more to the community, more to high achieving women, entrepreneurs, and corporate professionals. And that's how I ended up on this journey of just taking my own personal trials and tribulations and the success from that and turning that into becoming a master mindset coach.
And I can't tell you how many healers and helpers I have spoken with who basically everybody I know who's in this field in any shape or form, it comes almost always from personal experience. So that's very common. Now,
Yeah.
we talk about EFT tapping often on the show. So I think our listeners know what that is. But we have not talked about neuro-linguistic NL programming yet.
Yes.
So if you want to talk
Yes.
a little bit about what exactly that is. I mean, when you say that NLP, the first thing that comes to my mind is Tony Robbins and like back in the day, so for
Mhm.
those that aren't familiar, let's kind of break down just a little bit of what that means in case they're not familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm trying to keep it plain because you can definitely go down a rabbit hole when it comes to neurolinguistic programming. I will say that a lot of the work of NLP is rooted in neuroscience. So, whereas sometimes people go, well, some of the stuff is woo woo, vision boards are woo woo, EFT doesn't work. It all works. NLP has the science behind it. Our brain has neural programs or neural pathways, and it's based on our behaviors, things that we've been doing over and over for many years. And now we have a set program and beliefs that we've gotten as children. And so the question becomes, well, how do you get unstuck? How do you change your beliefs in a permanent way? So NLP, what it does is the brain speaks its own language. When I tell you to imagine a blue box in your mind, what's the first thing that pops up? You don't see the words blue box. You actually see the blue
Yeah.
box, right? So, so when you think about that, NLP is the language of the brain. And so what we do is we use words, visual imagery, and other techniques to kind of jolt or break what your current program is to create permanent solutions in your brain. And that comes through creating new neural pathways. So, in a nutshell, I look at subconscious modalities. NLP is all of the same thing, neural energetic encoding. That's another one as more permanent solutions, and EFT, scripting, breath work, a lot of the other things as additional
Mm,
tools to the permanent solution.
yeah. And I find even with EFT, often needs to be repeated and repeated and repeated. So, especially for a big
Absolutely. It's a
issue, right?
tool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tool. So, so that you can regulate your nervous system at any point in time. So, it's an amazing tool. It does work. But when you start dealing with subconscious modalities and NLP and things like that, you're actually changing the program, the neural pathways in your
Yeah.
brain. So you're rewiring that literally. So when people think of Tony Robbins, he was just way ahead of his
Yeah, I
time
was
back
thinking of
then.
early
And
Tony, right? If you
mhm, or
remember if
yeah,
you
or
remember
the
early Tony, like
TV commercial Tony with the
yeah.
cassette tapes. Yes.
Try
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. So when you those tools that he had back then, I mean, they have stood the test of
Yeah.
time. And of course, they've been around and they've been studied. And at any point in time, you can do your own research on how it impacts the brain from a scientific
Yep.
standpoint.
Okay, so I love the naming of this. I saw this on your website, I think. So you have something called the ATM method, which just sounds fun. Can you walk us through what that is and how it works?
Absolutely. So when I was thinking about how do you go about changing lives and what I like when I was going through my own personal transformation and development and what I didn't like. I can tell you one of the things I didn't like was how complicated people made things be to get to the end goal. That's what I didn't like. And so I thought, okay, well, what's something that's really simple that people can grasp, hold on to, remember it, and repeat it over and over if they need to. And so that's where I came up with the ATM method. I look at it as we all know when we go to an ATM, we're either taking out money or we're putting in money. So I look at it as we're investing, we're making a deposit into ourselves. So the A stands for awareness because that is the first thing we all have to do is, become aware of what's holding you back. What is it that you want? What's the reason why you don't have it? What are some of the limiting beliefs that are coming up? So get awareness. And the T is transformation. Once you are aware of what the issue is, of what it is that you want, or you have more clarity, now we can start to develop a program that would allow you to transform. So whether that's using NLP, EFT, somatic breath work, hypnosis, whatever it is, now we can come up with a plan that says, I'm ready for transformation, and then go through that journey. And then finally, the M is movement. And the thing with movement is usually people make that their first thing. We are such busy doers. We want to do, 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 do. Whereas when we use the A and the T, we are becoming the version of ourselves. Now, once we've done that, we can start to move in aligned action with the intentions that we've set. So that's what the ATM method stands for. Very simple. Inner work, as I'm sure your audience knows, is not as simple. I say it's the hardest work out there. I think that's why we rather be just doing instead of dealing with the things within. But the ATM method makes it simple and it gives you a guideline to follow so that you can step into your highest self and move out of that scarcity mindset.
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it is. It works.
I think a lot of people could use that.
Yeah, they need to make a deposit in their life, Jennifer, like they into themselves, like that real deposit that just gives a return over and over and over. So the ATM
Yeah,
method
that's
does
a
that.
lovely visual, and I agree that it simplifies it so that it can be, you can remember it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so on this show, we talk a lot about limiting beliefs or core beliefs or whatever you want to call them. And I'm curious what kinds of limiting beliefs that you're seeing pop up most often for high achieving women.
Mhm. Yeah, so one of them is I'm not good enough.
That's universal, I think, right? Yeah.
That's a universal thing, and what's funny is we talk all around it. I hear high achieving women talk all around it, and when we get to the root, it's I'm not good enough. So that one is very common. Another one is imposter
Yeah.
syndrome. I'm not who I appear to be, or I'm not good enough to be that person, or what are people going to think? And that's why I haven't done anything. So they feel like they're being an imposter. Another one from high achieving women is I have to work twice as hard. I have to work
Hmm.
twice as hard to get the basic or what seems to be normal for everyone else. So essentially, working themselves to death. The death of their soul, the death of their freedom, their energy, their health, simply because they believe that, they have to work twice as hard. So that is another that's a situation where it can keep you in a rat race of just lack over and over and over because you're never giving yourself a break. So those are some of the most common things that I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a small group of business women, and we literally were talking about that very thing within the last couple days.
Yeah.
And it was all
Yeah.
women, and we're all talking about, how you do feel like you just have to work, 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 work so hard.
Mhm. Just to get, like,
Yeah, yeah,
recognized, just to get not even get the promotion, just to get
yeah,
recognized, and a lot of that is kind of what we've set up in our mind, or the belief system from over time, and because the way things are today maybe isn't the way it was set up for our grandmother, or even maybe even for our mother, but we're still operating in that same
yeah.
energy, and it doesn't necessarily apply to you. Mhm.
Interesting. How do you begin with women to get them to start shifting those challenging beliefs?
So the first question I typically ask women is if you knew the answer would be yes, what would you ask for?
Oh, everything on my vision board.
Exactly. Because again, it goes back to when you ask the question, what is it that you want? I don't know. I mean, I haven't really thought about it. I'm not
Ooh,
sure. So then, we just reframe that. If you knew the answer would be yes, what would you ask for? Dream for a moment, right? So we start there, I start there. And then that's where we move into, well, what's keeping you from it?
do you find that answer? Do you hear that often, that women don't even, like, haven't even dared to dream for some goal, that they just
Oh,
can't answer that question?
yes, all the
Really?
time. It would probably be the top thing. When I ask, what is it that you want? The pause, silence, the ums is deafening, for lack of a better word. And I think it's because women are such nurturers, and we're in a culture, society where, as little girls, many women are taught to give and not receive. Many women are taught to be nurturers or just are natural nurturers. So they typically don't put themselves first, especially once they start having a family and children. They feel guilty for wanting, they feel guilty for asking, they feel guilty for just being. I remember one of my clients asking her, well, how much would you like to make? What is that amount? And she just kept saying, I just want, for people to be happy. And and I'm like, okay, you want to grow this business. What is the amount? And she
Yeah.
struggled to tell me a dollar
Yeah.
amount. And part of it was she was afraid to fail. If I put it out there, if I say it out there, if I put it out there out loud, then what if I don't get it? What if it never happens? And now, I wanted something that I couldn't
Yeah.
have. Yeah. So, yeah. So what we do at I have these workshops called vision soirees, and sometimes I do them across the country. Sometimes I'll do like maybe 6 a year in different
Like
cities.
in-person events?
In-person events. It's just like a vision. I would say just like a vision board party, but everyone has told me that the vision board parties they've been to have never been anything like this. So they're vision soirees, and we come in and we actually address the limiting beliefs and what's holding you back. And one of the first things I say to everyone before we start on our board, when we get started, say, okay, now you all are little girls. Remember that little girl who used to play and run around, and she was a princess, and she was, a warrior. She was all of these things. She was going to be a doctor. She was going to be all of those things. I want you to put your little girl hat on right now and just play and dream like nothing matters, And that really opens everyone up to start just embodying that freedom of dreaming. We lose that. We lose it along the way between the bills and the kids and the husband and the career, and then the husband and the husband and the bills.
I was going to say even school, I
So,
feel like just going
well,
through
yeah.
school and then the pressure of like, what are you going to do next? I think crushes a lot of dreams.
Yeah, or the when you share your dreams, or even with your parents, them telling you, "Well, is that really what you want to do? I mean, you would be better if you go this way. If you did this, if you did that." So a lot of the things that we're doing, a lot of the careers that we have, is based on someone else's desires. It's not even
Yeah,
our own.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that are in careers that have nothing to do with what they want to do. And
Right.
yes, I also heard, you know, you sure you want to do that? Are you going to make money doing that? And I didn't end up
Right.
studying what I wanted to study. I wanted to study music. So
Oh, yeah. But I mean, that's the sidetrack. And I think all of that puts the doubt in our head, and it allows us to not trust ourselves or not trust our
yeah.
intuition because of someone else's beliefs or someone else's dreams for you that's not even your own. So then you just stop dreaming and you're just
Yeah.
living, and really you're just
Yeah.
surviving.
So we all need to get out of this and listen to
Yes, we do. Fast.
Do you ever dream of being a better mom, friend, or person? You're not alone. Life happens, and even your best intentions can fall off track. That's why I created Balanced Life Warrior, a no fluff, practical course that helps you actually make progress toward the goals you have for your life. There's nothing overwhelming here, just tools that actually fit into your busy day. You belong here. Head to whiterobinwellness.com to get started today. That's whiterobinwellness.com. So, on a more positive note, let's talk about abundance and what that means to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love abundance. So abundance is your birthright. Okay, everyone, it is your birthright. You deserve it. You didn't have to do anything for it. You absolutely deserve abundance. And for me, abundance isn't just about money. We're such a money culture, which there's anything wrong with money, but I want to take abundance a little bit further. Abundance is overflow. Abundance is more time, more love, more energy, better health, more freedom, the life that you've always imagined for yourself. That is, to me, abundance wrapped up in a beautiful bow. And, abundance is something that you decide. You have to know that you deserve it, that it is truly your birthright. So that's what abundance is for me. What about, I mean, I don't know about what it is
No,
for
that
you,
yeah,
Jennifer,
that I
but
think that was a pretty good description. And I do think we need more of it. And the other thing that popped into my head that I didn't say a few minutes ago was when we were talking about women, kind of when you said that you had the person who couldn't even name a dollar amount, it made me think of years ago, another like group of women. I don't know if you all belong to like communities of like-minded people, but you should. Anyway, it was like a group
absolutely.
of business owners, women business owners, and I can remember people talking about like, I just want to break even. Like, I just want enough. I just want enough, just enough. Like, I don't even want to dream for like you're saying, this big goal. And everybody was, not everybody. Some of the people
Just,
were right.
uh-huh,
Tamp it down to what I think is
mhm,
possible, to what I think I maybe
yeah.
deserve. Ooh, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
Or where I feel like I won't
I think
fail because then I don't have to be
I think so.
disappointed if I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. So, and
Mhm. It's a thing.
I think it's a big issue. I think all the things you're talking about apply to the majority of women, I know.
It doesn't matter what the income is. You can be successful on paper, six figures, seven figures, and still operate from a lack mindset.
Interesting.
A lot of people don't realize that. They just think, oh, when I hit the six figures, and when I hit the seven figures, when you still feel like you're not enough, when you're still working yourself to death and experiencing burnout, not making decisions from an alignment
Yeah.
standpoint, not able to say no or not having boundaries, whatever those things may be, you're operating from a lack mindset. So I don't want anyone, and I'm sure the audience can relate. They probably have that girlfriend who makes a lot of money and she's always broke.
Interesting. Do you think that's, like a core belief in the mind as well? Like this woman who's making 6 figures, but like you said, never has any money in her purse. Is there something like a belief like, I'm not meant to have abundance, like some little core belief hiding in there somewhere?
A lot of women say, I'm just bad with money. What makes you think you're bad with money? Now we start to get to the root of it. We dig deeper. It's, well, my mom or my dad, they always yelled about money, or money was always an issue, or we never had enough. Like it goes deeper than just, I'm a bad money manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that everything comes back to our beliefs at the core.
Yeah.
And that's all we have to have some awareness. That's that ATM method. We have to get aware of what our beliefs are so that we can break the pattern.
Yeah, and I feel like this is just now becoming, more popular, and like we said, I know Tony was talking about it so many years ago, but I feel like it's becoming more mainstream that people are finally starting to wake up and realize that we don't need to live with whatever these beliefs are that are holding us back. People are starting to look into EFT or
Mm-hmm.
NLP or even counseling, whatever. Just they're starting to
Absolutely. Yeah.
recognize like, "Oh, I don't have to live with this belief. I can
Mhm.
change it."
Or, are accepting. So here's one of the things people used to say or still say is, that's just how I am. It's just who I am. And so what I scream with a beautiful smile is, that's who you choose to be. At any moment in time, you have the option to change. It is completely your
Mm,
choice. But when we're raised,
yeah.
and I would say back in the day, no one really told you that. This is just her personality. This is just who she is. That's just how I roll. And no one else said anything about it. And today we have so much information out here. There's so much information and so many examples. And I would say that we're kind of like in an information overload, which is not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing. But the key is, what are you doing with the information?
Yep. We've talked about that on the show too. And that's the trap that I personally can find myself in when you're gathering, so much information. And then I stop and say, wait a minute, am I actually going to use this? Is this relevant
Mhm.
right now? On a show recently, I was talking about how I got this great business book and I got like 3/4 of the way through and I'm taking all these notes. And then they started talking about basically this a stage of the business that I'm not in yet. I don't have employees, I don't have HR, I don't have payroll. And I said to myself, well, why am I reading this part of the book? Let me save
Yeah,
it till
right.
later. Right. But I think a lot of times we don't do that. We get sucked into whatever rabbit hole we're researching and we just soak up and gather
Mhm.
all this info, but don't actually
Right.
do
And
anything with
some
it.
of that, not everyone, but a lot of people use that as a way to make themselves think they're actually doing something, that they're
Yes.
progressing,
Yes.
to keep from actually
Yes.
doing and or being the person they need to be to have those things either attract to you or make those things happen. So that's a great awareness that you had, for
Yeah.
yourself, to be able to snap yourself out of it, just be like, you know what, this is not what I need right now. It's here for me when I get ready, when I get to that point and when I'm ready to pick it back up. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about entrepreneurs now because they are their own different kind of animal. And I hear this a lot as well. The mindset shift of lack and chasing clients and the worry of, especially with service providers or people who are trading time for money. So they need to have a certain number of clients every month, in order to pay their bills. And it's getting to the end of the month and maybe they needed 5 more clients and they don't see them, how they can shift to attracting aligned clients with ease or however
Yeah,
you would
I think
word it.
that's
But
perfect, how you worded it. I mean, it still goes back to mindset. Before I went into the corporate world as an entrepreneur for, maybe, it's 2 decades, and obviously still have a couple of businesses even now. And, unlike a corporate job or, regular jobs, there's really no 9 to 5, right? So you kinda have to manage you do not kinda, you have to manage yourself, manage your schedule, and many times you're wearing all the hats. What I find with most entrepreneurs is that they are operating from a scarcity mindset. They don't realize they're operating from a scarcity mindset. They would say that they're just driven and they're trying to make sure they capitalize on all the opportunities, XYZ. What they don't realize is that they're putting out that energy of desperation. They're putting out that energy of scarcity. And that energy of scarcity and the energy of desperation still goes back to some type of belief that they have, that they have to work 24 hours or 20 hours out of the day to make it happen. If they have to hound people and all of these things, where if they step back and really got to the root cause of what their beliefs are, worked on that so that they can be in alignment with their business and have the energy that is projecting from them, they will start to attract clients. So when they're out in spaces and they're talking, someone will come up to them and say, "Oh my goodness, I want to work with her," or "I'm going to work with them," or "have this person do my hair," or "have this person provide the services for my home." And that's just simply off of the energy of you being authentic, knowing who you are, being clear on what it is that you want, and knowing your purpose. So many times we're even out of alignment as an entrepreneur. We take on more things than what we should because we don't know how to say no. And everything is an opportunity. What I want to say to all the entrepreneurs is that you will never be short of opportunities. The key is deciding which opportunity is aligned with who you are and what it is you want to do. So you have to still get clear and be aware. And then after that, of course, as business owners, entrepreneurs, we still have to have a strategy, right? So there's a difference. There's the mindset piece, operating from a place of abundance, operating from a place of having a wealth mindset, and also having a strategy as well. But the strategy becomes so much more easier once you're clear on what you want, once you've gotten to the root cause, because now you can develop a plan and have movement with intention to make things happen. That's it. Yeah.
yeah, it sounds simple when you lay it out like
It does,
that.
doesn't it? Well, we know everything requires something of us. Sometimes that inner work is the most challenging of all the work that any of us will ever do. And that's okay. Just go on the journey. It is the one job or investment that will continue to pay you over and over for the rest of your life.
Hmm. Yeah, well said. Well said.
Yeah.
So, I know that you released a book this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe a sneak peek of what we can expect when we read it?
Absolutely. So I'm so excited about the book because it's been in my heart and my soul for a number of years. And don't judge it by the size, it's intentional, the size of the book, but it's called Manifest Your Limitless Life. And I love, 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 love this book because it gives you inspiration. It backs it up with universal spiritual principles. I believe it's something that anyone, no matter what their religion, whatever their background is, they can relate to. And it has stories, my own personal stories of where I've taken the steps that I've laid out in the book to manifest different things in my life. And on top of that, it's kind of like a workbook, but it's not. So there's things for you to do. There's actually things for you to do along the way. And I love that piece about the book because, again, having the information is valuable because that's what's going to help us shift our beliefs, retrain or rewire our brain. But when you execute it, then you're starting to make permanent neural pathways. And the book allows you to do that. So then you can prove it to yourself. I always approach things with If someone told me that this works, this is going to sound so negative, guys. But if someone told me that this works, I'm going to prove them otherwise. And what I found out most times is that they were right. And I benefited. I benefited from it because I just trusted the process. So Manifest Your Limitless Life is available on Amazon now. It's also available on my website as well that you can purchase. But it is going to walk you through my 6 steps of manifestation in a way that's not overcomplicated. You don't have to do too much. It's the perfect book, especially when you're starting out on this journey.
Now, when you said don't be intimidated by the size, does that mean it's really, really big or
No,
really,
it's not
really,
big
or
at
really,
all.
really
It's
compact and
less
easy to use?
it's compact, easy to use. It's less than 100 pages. It's not teeny tiny font, so you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about that. I had someone reach out to me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I got the book." And she actually reached out to tell me that she manifested $5,000 in that week. And she was like, the book was the perfect size. And she's a VP of HR, vice president of HR at a known company. And she was like, I know this stuff, but it was such a great reminder and it just reset everything for me. And it was the perfect size because we're busy.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Jennifer. We are busy. We're busy. We're out here doing things, making things happen, living our best life or attempting to. So this is something you can take with you and just do it step by step over the next,
Yeah.
15 to 30
But the
days.
key is do it. Don't just read it. Do it.
That's exactly right. Take some movement and you'll be clear on what it is you want because I'm going to walk you through that.
Very good. Yeah. I'm a big fan, a big believer in succinct, actionable information without the fluff. Everything that I produce, that's how I do it because we do not have time for all the fluff.
No. If it's only going to take you 3 minutes to give it to me, please don't give it to me in 30
Right. Yeah,
or an
exactly.
hour. Just give it to me.
Tell me about some of the ways that people can work with you. Tell us what that looks like, what the options are.
Absolutely. So I do provide one-on-one coaching. I also have a group coaching program that's very effective. This usually about 6 weeks called the Manifestation 365 Academy. Don't be fooled by the name manifestation. Okay. Manifestation is just the fruition. It is the physical, spiritual, or the energetic of what it is that you want to desire coming into fruition. But it encapsulates so many other things, whether that's anxiety, whether that is fear, whether that is depression, whether it's money, business, all of that is included in that. So you have an EFT tapping blueprint, tap, thrive, and release, forgiveness and gratitude reset. The freedom of forgiveness is amazing. So that's something that you can just pick up and walk through on your own. And you can go as fast as you want, but I kind of paced it over 21 days because I think everyone knows that's listening that when we're dealing with the freedom of forgiveness, it may not go as quickly as we.
Yeah, those feelings are deep.
So different products like that on the inspirelife365.com website. We also have some freebie resources. The Abundance Mindset Bundle is absolutely amazing. So if,
Wonderful.
if there's not anything, if you don't get anything from me, definitely grab that.
Nice. And we'll have links to everything in the show notes. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to talk about today?
I just want your listeners to know that they have everything they need already within them. You are so gifted and amazing just being who you are. And if you feel like you are not actually living the life that you've always imagined for yourself, you feel like you've been stuck, you feel like you're at a dead end, or that you could have more and you're just not sure how to get it, know that there's so many resources available and that you deserve it. You deserve it so much. And if no one else tells you that you are worthy, I want to be the one to tell you, you are so worthy. You're so worthy of everything that your heart desires.
Beautiful. Well, thank you.
And you're welcome.
I'm sure you've inspired a lot of people today. This was fun. I thank you so much for being here today, Natalie.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. I love having these conversations and you make everything so warm and fuzzy. I love it. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your community.
Well, thanks for being here. And listeners, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Just drop it in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more.